During Minecraft's new update system, we've seen 5 separate drops released, with the 6th one on the way, and Toycat and I decided it would be best to make an ultimate guide over every single drop we have currently had and will soon have. So my idea for this entire area is kind of like a layered cake, I guess, because there is only 5 sections, 6 technically if you want to count the Happy Gas update, so I'm pretty sure we could do something like that. So let's just mark out every single one of these areas we actually want to build up with a big old slab of smooth stone. And yeah, I could totally do something with this now. Only thing is, we need some light in all of these, and I know I like having like some moody light sometimes, but not this time. We are lighting this place up to the fullest extent we can, and I do still want to start outside though. That's the big thing. So how are we going to make this look good from the outside and inside? That is the question that I'll be figuring out later. Or I might be figuring this out as I go along, because the first place is obviously related to the bats and pots update. And I think all I gotta do is just make this feel and look like something or someplace you might expect to find mainly pots, because I feel like pots were like the bigger and more like appropriately looked upon thing inside this one update. Like, people remember pots way more than they remember the bat changes. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I should hopefully be able to figure this out in time. And as I was building it up, I did start having a few ideas as to where I should take this first area. And okay, I might not have touched the inside as much as it might have looked, but I did touch a lot of the outside, as we can see right here, because what I'm considering on doing is just matching up a whole bunch of these patterns based on like what type of drop it is, going all the way up to the top. I think something like this will work. I really hope something like this will work, but regardless, I guess we're sticking with this now. And then we kind of gotta redo what we were doing on the inside. Maybe we don't need this whole space. Like, we're gonna have to work our way up somehow. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna need this entire open area. I think we can make do with, like, just a bit of a small area. And maybe something that might... No. Oh, this is always the biggest head scratcher. Starting off in a guide world, I have no idea how to start off, but then when I get going, I really get going. Okay, I think I'm getting somewhere. And I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but this is over the Bats and Pots update, based on the update having bats and pots. A messy blob of colors filled with terracotta and things like that to show off all the new pots and things like that. Well, okay, not all the pots, but you know, a good chunk of them. You in there, you across here, and you right here. And I think honestly that's pretty much it for the bat part. Can't really think about what else to do, but this will be fine. Then I guess maybe from here we can start like working our way up at least a little bit, because we are gonna have to try finding a way to get ourselves from this lower area to the upper area. Not too much higher, but we can make do with this. Actually, really quickly before we actually continue, I kind of want to change this out for some sandstone. Mainly just so we don't clash this terracotta with the big pile of terracotta we'll have up there. Okay, that's way better. And we are set up for the pottery section. Of course, we're gonna have a bunch of pots inside of here, but we're also gonna have a mildly less saturated rainbow explosion over here too. Nice, very nice. And now we just gotta spew just a bunch of these pots all over the place, with maybe just clusters of like normal terracotta around the place too. Ooh, actually I'm gonna reorganize a few things. There we go, this is a little bit better. Showing off, you can fill up a stack up here, and then showing off all the hoppers and droppers stuff up here. I think that is good enough. Let's move on to the next area, which is actually gonna be the Armored Paws update. Let's pop back outside and get back to work on this thing, with now instead using some wood, because you know wolves are found like in many foresty areas, and I don't think I need to explain it. And after building up the outside of this area for a while, and I think after doing the wood layer, I've come to a conclusion. The thing that's really eating up the time and making up this god world is this outside area. So what I'm considering doing right now is just finishing up the exterior and then working on the interior, because otherwise this is just gonna take forever. This is gonna take like more than all day. Like the 2 layers we did so far, each of them took about an hour each, so yeah, it's probably better just to grind these out and then work on the inside, which is what I decided to do. And over the course of several hours, I worked as hard and as long as I can to get the outside of this entire building completely done. And after many hours of long, hard square building, we have ended up with this exterior. This is something that is truly worth to behold. It looks pretty simple, I'll be honest, but it is honestly very complicated to actually build, because not only did I have to like figure out what blocks work with width. I had to figure out like which block types didn't like mesh with other ones. I had to also try making it seem like it was like blending from one drop to the other, to the other, to the other, and so on and so on and so on. I think the sign right here is a-okay too. A little messy, a little all over the place, but I still think I like it. I have a feeling the inside's probably not going to look as good as the outside, but we might be able to do something. We still might be able to do something. But now on to the armored paws, and how should we go about doing this? Okay, what I'm gonna do first is import all the wolves from the wolf variant guides, or the pets variant guides, because while I could go all around the world and find them again, like, it's just gonna be so much easier just doing it this way. And then I'm considering just making something that looks kind of like a savanna biome, because, you know, the armadillos and everything like that. And after way too much building off camera, the entire armored paws area, I think, is pretty much completed. Oops. I'm usually pretty good at showing off how I build these things, but I think I just forgot to film anything. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Armadillos right here, the armadillo scutes, the wolf armor, dyeable wolf armor, all the new wolves, and everything else like that is pretty much completely and totally set up. Maybe there's something else I could add here, but generally speaking, this is pretty much gonna be it. Actually, there's one thing I want to add here, and that's more clouds. It's way too much of a clear sky over here. Okay, that's a bit better, and I will be filming way more up here than I did down there, but, bundles of bravery. There's like, what? Bundles and hardcore. Yeah, they're not too much to show, but I think I have an idea as to what we could do, and we're definitely not going to need all this space. What we are going to have is pretty much an area like this, going down a long hallway, with multiple different colors going down that one hallway. Could I do something more? Probably, but I think for now that this will work. Okay, this will work. If you're wondering how we're going to implement hardcore into this tunnel, don't wonder, because we're not going to add it here. This tunnel is mainly and solely just going to be for the bundles. We'll just add all different types of bundles onto the wall. I forgot there were 17. How do we do this? I guess just like this. And I think that's about it, honestly. All the bundles there, how to craft it, how to dye it. Maybe there's a way we can have like a whole bunch of just random items coming in here, in case Toycat wants to show that off, maybe? Ooh, actually, you know what? I have a great idea for this. I have a great idea. Ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Because now if Toycat wants to show how bundles work, then all you gotta do, flick this lever, and then as we can see, there's just a bunch of items that fall on the floor. We can all pick them up and then put them inside of a bundle. Toycat uses this, awesome. If not, I don't care, because I really do like that myself. But now on to hardcore, which should be made pretty easy. And I mean, if nothing else, hardcore is like the main thing people will remember from this update, at least if you play on Bedrock Edition. Okay, this might look a little bit like a Where's Waldo hallway, but I think it still gets the point across, especially with that little heart at the end and just the simple little sign saying that hardcore was added. Unless if there's something else I could do. I don't think so. Maybe I could add saying that like you do die when you die, or wait, no, that doesn't make sense. When you die, you will no longer be able to play that world. That makes way more sense. And enough sense to move on to the next area, which is the Garden Awakens update, and I'm probably gonna do something pretty similar to what I did with the Armor Paws update. Make a huge area that kind of feels and looks like a pill garden. And after setting up the area and building up the landscape and whatnot around here, and okay, this is a good one. I'm liking the terrain we did in here. So we're just gonna need a few little things here and there. Bit of pale moss, maybe a couple pale oak trees around the place. And after some path details, I think we're ready to start this one. The Garden Awakens. Alright, let's do this. Added the Pale Garden, a pretty obvious thing. Added all the wood types, a few Pale Garden exclusive plants, the creaking heart, the creaking itself, and all the resin blocks. I think that's everything inside the update. I hope that is. If it is, perfect. If not, then we could always come back. And now time for the drop that looks less Pale Garden-y and more spring to life-y. And after some terrain construction, we should be able to get to work on this thing. So I think if we make something that looks kind of like a normal forest, why aren't you growing? Why aren't you growing? Oh, wait a minute. It's because of these, probably. Little did anyone know I had this problem going the entire way up this thing. Because now, look at that. What? That makes no sense. Why you do this to me, Lightblock? I'll likely never get the answer to it, but oh well. So let's just make a... Are you serious? This has got to be a bug. This has got to be a bug. Because look at that. I removed that, and Why? But okay, after I make this path, this spiteful and very frustrating path, and now we can get to work showing off everything inside the update. And after spending some of that time setting that stuff up, I think for the most part, everything is pretty much set up and ready to go. I think. Out of all the drops, this one actually had a fair decent amount of stuff. The only thing is, a lot of this stuff is like pretty small or pretty, not noticeable. Like, it's pretty noticeable. It's just like, it's there, but you wouldn't even really think about it being there. Anyways, let's put the light blocks back in now. And now on to the final area. And the final area for the final drop, which as of recording this, isn't yet out yet. But there is still some way we can get the happy gas and stuff inside of here. Pop down to here, you onto you. And now all the stuff in the next update is pretty much inside of here. And honestly, the one thing I could think about with heading inside this room is mainly a big wide hallway, just to ignore some of that stuff over there. A big wide hallway which will show roughly what's inside this one update. And I say roughly because, again, as of recording this, all that stuff isn't yet finalized yet. So I just hope upon hope nothing really changes by the time I finish building this and by the time that update fully releases. Like, leads have been massively improved inside this update, with things such as the crafting recipe completely changing. Favorite visuals are being introduced, probably. And of course, like, the main feature inside this update, or pretty much the only feature inside this update, the dry gas, which will lead to the happy gas. And I kind of want at the very end for Toycat to be allowed to like just fly out of this one area somehow. So what I could do, find a hole, poke a hole through here, and then just let Toycat just zoom on out on a happy gas at the very end. Perfect, and honestly, not too noticeable. It actually blends in pretty well. And then it's just a matter of just showing off and building up the rest of this stuff real quick. And I think unless I'm missing something, which, let's be honest, this update is still in development. I'm sure I have somewhere, but I think if I didn't, this is pretty much every single drop we have seen thus far inside of Minecraft. Most very small, some a little bit larger than others, but overall, that is what we can expect inside the Ultimate Drops Guide. Let me know what you think of it down below, but for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.